We started with Atari as the first landlord in 2012, and about 4 years back when I took over, about 5 to 6 were functional. Now we have about 12 landports, stretch of about 15,000 odd kilometers that we have our borders with officially 7 countries. We have about 90 odd locations through which trade and transit takes place. And our aim is to build these landports, different sizes, depending on the requirement, at all these locations, so that any transaction happening with the neighboring country goes through the formal channel of landport. And landport initially got integrated checkpost, so that the initial idea was that all the activities at that location should be under one roof. So that's the name we started off with. Our trade with neighbors is just about, as of now, just about 5% of our total international trade. World Bank study does say that it can increase up to 5 times and form about 20% of the international trade that India does, if the region is properly supported in terms of, not only in terms of infrastructure, but also in terms of the rules and norms and standards, etc.
Today, as we delve into the transformative theme of self-transformation for enhancing customer experience at Indian land ports, Mr. Jayant Krishna's insight promised to illuminate the path towards customer-centric transformation with clarity and foresight. Let us welcome Mr. Jayant Krishna as he shares his wisdom with gratitude and anticipation.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there is a funeral going on, right? People are pouring in quietly. Look at their white clothes. Look at their sad eyes. Look at the deep anguish and distress that they are in. Look at the murmur. What are they talking about at the funeral? Now look up people. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your own funeral. But actually, your own funeral can be a very, very painful experience, right? So, I imagine it's your own funeral, and now look at the lives you had touched when you were alive. Without you, some relationships have gone hollow, empty, completely. Without you, some businesses have a crisis of existence. Your customers are heartbroken. Now, try to imagine a bit deeper. At the funeral, your friends, your relatives, your kith and kin who were gathered there, how do they remember you? Did you have warm and loving relationships? Did your customers' eyes lit up while interacting with you? Did you keep commitments? Did you achieve something worthwhile in life? Did you wipe off tears, the cheeks of those who are not as privileged as us? What was the purpose to your life, or you just drifted through life? What we do, we ask you after the funeral, imagining your own funeral and how people remember you, or people were gathered at the funeral ground. We ask you to write your own obituary, which means each one of you would be writing your own obituary. Now, mind you, this is not an obituary which describes the person that you are today. This is the obituary of the person that you would like to be remembered as after we are gone. Then, believe me, it's not very difficult to identify some steps if you have to move closer to the person that you would like to be remembered as after you are gone, after each one of us is gone, right? The death is inevitable, right? It has to happen to each one of you. later or sooner. But what kind of person you would like to be remembered as? You know, that Gandhi said about customers, I'm sure at different points of your time you would have come across, right? He said, our customer is the most important visitor on our premises. He's not dependent. The customer is not dependent on us. We are dependent on the customer. He's not an interruption in our work. He's the purpose of it. He's not an outsider in our business. He's a part of it. And we are not doing any favor by serving him. As a matter of fact, he's doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so. Sometimes some of you might be wondering, why is Gandhi not our customer? He didn't sell anything in his life. He was not into the buying and selling. He was not into the business. The fact is, Gandhi was in business. You know, he sold the concept of inside of the country. He sold the concept of quit India to the British, to the mighty British Empire, which eventually won us our independence on 15th August 1947, right? So Gandhi was not just the most original national thinker, and he's perhaps the most effective negotiator, the world has seen. So Gandhi was, each one of us is selling something or other, and for each one of us, there are customers around us, in our homes, in our offices, and the end customer that he was serving at land boards and other places. Right. When I went through your website, it is a very, very well articulated vision for the organization that you've set up. And I just repeat it. It says to build land boards on India's borders. This is not a big deal, right? There'll be budgetary support, there'll be an outlay given to you, and anybody can build, right? You can have specifications, you can have contractors, and anybody can build the board, whoever has access to government funds. It's not a big deal to build land ports, but then to provide secure, seamless, and efficient systems for cargo and passenger movement, to reduce the dwell time and trade transactional costs, to promote digital trade as people contact and endeavor to invite the best international practices. Mission is the very purpose why the organization exists. It's very clearly articulated there that you exist to enhance trade. You exist for the customers, the passengers who are passing through the borders or the land boards, for them to experience not only satisfaction but a spirit of delight. That's what. So it's very, very well captured and to embrace international best practices, right? It all talks about it. What we have to do at periodic time is some soul searching as to whether we are vis-a-vis the mission that we have embarked upon. I think that we use already Apple or Samsung, Apple, let's say, iPhone, right? As I was sitting here, every second person would be an Apple user, right? What happens, Apple? Why is Apple so innovative? Why is Apple so successful? They have access to the same manpower. They go to the same American universities and other universities so everything. And believe me, almost all the features which are there in an Apple iPhone, very few of them are actually invented by Apple. They were all inventions which happened elsewhere in the world. And those inventions were globalized. They were not intellectual property of anybody. Apple just used all the inventions, and a couple of them were their own, and put them together, in a smartphone. And basically what they did, the Nokia was the ruler in the iPhone market, in the cell phone market there for the time. They challenged the status quo. They felt that we have to, it's beautifully designed a product, simple to use, very user-friendly. Believe me, I can't believe anybody in this room who now uses a Samsung or any other model and was really looking at Apple. Because once you start holding it as impossible to move to any other brand. Such is the fascination, user-friendliness of the product. So anybody who has done to get even people who led the civil rights movements like Martin Luther King, the senior, the junior, also that. Why is it that there was so much of conviction in whatever they said? Why is it that he said, "I have a dream." That's what on the famous speeches of Martin Luther King said. and the rest is history. What he did, look at Wright brothers, the people who started the first manned aircraft, powered aircraft with a human being sitting inside, right? At that point of time, there were 12 experiments like that happening in the world, right? And one of the lesser funded ones were the Wright brothers for. But why is it that Wright brothers succeeded and others didn't succeed? Because they believe they wanted to change the status, they challenge the status quo, and they wanted to go beyond. I think this is something which is very, very important for us to understand. The problem is when it comes to customer delight opportunities, not just satisfaction opportunities. Each one of us in our interaction, be it a bureaucrat, be it a civil servant, be it a client, be it any person or an office boy, each one of us had certain marvelous opportunities to delight our customers. But the problem is that those opportunities do not come and knock our doors and say, hey, this is the customer delight opportunity, come and grab me. Right? Opportunities will always come to you brilliantly disguised as a problem beyond solution. That's it for me. Opportunity will never come to you, right? As opportunity knock your door, they always come brilliantly disguised as a problem which defies a solution. Anybody, there was a guy manufacturing, was working in a company, and the company was manufacturing using wax candles. And this guy was very inventive, and in his own garage at home, he used to do some, small time R&D and so on and so forth. Once he went and went to his management and said, you are manufacturing a product which is an end of the life cycle product. These candles don't, give light to people, to lawns and all, whatever. You have to look at something else. And this company was doing so well. They had almost 80 to 90% market share in the wax candles. They said that we had no reasons to change. And then this man left the company and continued with his small time research and development that he wanted to do with his garage, at his home. And then he became, the inventor of an electric bulb, right? The company he was earlier working for was Procter & Gamble, right? Procter & Gamble is still in the business, but the company which, as inventor of electric bulb and the other inventions, what he did, the purpose and why different data, is which company we talk about is the word cheap. It's about the largeness of the way, and the market cap of cheap companies today is many, many times, although Procter & Gamble did survive as an FMCG company, but it's many, many, many times that of Procter & Gamble. So I think we have to be cheap as our eyes and ears open for the opportunity. It's very, very, very important. Opportunities to delight customers, opportunity to make the difference, opportunity to travel that extra mile, which will make us being remembered as the kind of person that we would like to be remembered as automation. That's its all, right? On this slide, there are three primary pillars, right? Which are those? Red, blue, and green, right? So just suppose these three primary pillars are data are there in the alphabets. And then it starts, what is it? 26, right? And only words are there in the dictionary. And in the most exhaustive dictionary. Now, what's your idea? No, it's a LaaS. Yeah. So it's a huge, something told me, I don't know, that's right or not, but 10 lakh words are there in the English dictionary, right? Now somebody may think that just 26 letters and a huge base of 10 lakh words which already exist. Where those quantum words? Everything is already there. For any expression, for anything that you want to express, there's already a word. But for people who want words, any feeling, anything that they're following for which there is no exact word, these 26 letters and 10 lakh words are not a constraint for the person who will own another word and they get added to the dictionary. So each one of you, just do like this and hold it like this. Just hold your fingers like this. Don't change. The first time, the way you did it, just hold it and don't do it like this or here or like this. Hold it like this. Have you all done it? Right? Hold it, freeze it in this, right? Now my request to you is, some of you, when you did the first time, you will have your right thumb on the top. Some of you will have your left thumb on the top, right? Now my instruction is, reverse it. If you, those of you who had the right thumb on the top, bring your left thumb on the top, not just changing this, but changing the entire configuration. Right? Is it clear? Those of you who had the right thumb on the top, bring your left thumb on the top, not by just changing the thumb, changing all the fingers, right? And those who had the left thumb on the top, bring your right thumb on the top. Have you reversed? And have you reversed completely? Each one of you? How does it feel now?
A little uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. What else?
Less strength.
As if it has less strength. Uncomfortable, less strength. Any other feeling?
Some less gripping.
As if it's not gripping properly. What else?
Mismanaged.
There's some mismanagement of fingers, right? What else? Any other thought?
Extra conscious effort.
I have to make extra conscious effort to do it the other way around than the time when I did it naturally the first time, right? Any other thought? You know why it happens this way? Why it happened that way? Or why does it happen this way? You know, when we were a baby, just few weeks out of our mother's womb into this earth, or in this world, right? The first time, accidentally, we did in a particular manner, right? And let me tell you, it has got nothing to do with you being a left-hander or right-hander, right? How many of you had your right thumb initially, the first time when you did? How many of you had your right thumb on the top? Raise your hand. And how many of you had the left thumb on the top? Yeah. So it's if not 50-50, it's almost a 40-60 kind of a divide, right? Roughly, right? So why I did that? Because just to tell you, it has not, and obviously there can't be as many left-handers and left-handed people in the room, right? What I'm trying to tell you, it has nothing to do with you being a left-hander or right-hander. The first time when you were a baby, just a few weeks after you were born, we did it in a particular way and we felt comfortable thus doing the same way again and again and again and again and again. And the moment we are told to do it the other way around, and all the feelings that all of you collectively expressed happens. This is what happens. We become a victim of our own habits, you know. And we never go beyond, right? Your boss will tell you that this is the best way to do that, right? But you're free to do whichever way you want. But you are a grown-up, you are intelligent, you are experienced, right? I'm not saying you should defy your boss, but please take your own decisions, right? Don't get carried away in life by decisions taken on your behalf by other people and yet making you feel that you are calling the shots all the time. If you will not do this, delighting the customers, even keeping them satisfied, the bare minimum will remain a far distant cry on the horizon. You'll never see unless you grow. Do a serious introspection. Doesn't it happen in our lives? If we know that there's some situation where our parents, our spouse, our children, or our boss will pull out of it, many of us often do not put in effort which we are capable of putting in and coming out of a particular situation. We give up. If not 100% people, majority of us do that, right? Through other means, you can incrementally improve the customer satisfaction, but you have to delight, you have to look at a radically different way of running your operations. That's very, very important. So I think, humor, a lot of people think humor can be used, right? Humor can also be a very, very good. Unfortunately, we are in our country, we do not know how to use humor effectively. Sometimes we feel that there has to be national humor. We don't have a sense of humor. As we can laugh at silly jokes, Kapil Sharma shows and things like that. But you go abroad, even very senior politicians, even the presidents and prime ministers, or a very, very senior head of a bureaucrat heading it, or a CEO of a company will start the address making fool of himself or herself, right? Because that's their way of connecting with the audience and engaging with the audience, right? We are very, very serious people. We can only laugh at silly jokes. I mean, how different people. I'll just just to lighten up the environment, I'll share some of them. Albert Einstein, everybody knows, right? the person who propounded the theory of relativity, right? So those were the days when the television had not come, when he had propounded this theory, or they were in a very, very infant stage. So he was going to a neighboring country, to a university, to deliver a talk, after his theory of relativity was out, and he was, known as a very, very famous physicist, And so people knew about his work, but people didn't know how Albert Einstein looks like. Because photography was at the infant stage, and TV was perhaps not there, if I'm not mistaken at all. So he went there, and his driver, who was driving him there, Einstein's driver, he said, "What is so great you do? You go with a prepared text and read out the text and draw so much of applause. There's no big deal. I could do that." So Albert Einstein said, "Okay, I'm going to that university where nobody recognizes me. They only know about me, my work and my name. So you go disguised as Albert Einstein, and I'll write a beautiful speech even better than what I've been writing earlier." You see, scientists are core, they may not be very good orators. They're very good at the work that they do. So Einstein wrote the entire speech, and then the driver and Albert Einstein went there. The driver was introduced by Albert Einstein as Albert Einstein. So the driver was introduced as Albert Einstein, and and the driver was, and many of these people, they're very, very, driver, by the way, spoke very, very good English, almost like Queen's English, apparently. And he went and delivered the talk. Believe me, that day, the kind of applause which the people in the auditorium got, the driver disguised as Albert Einstein got, was far more than what Albert used to get, because Albert was not a good speaker. He had very good content, but he was not a very good speaker. So the driver disguised as Albert Einstein, he winked at Albert, who was sitting on second or third row in the audience, right? He winked and almost saying that, "Look I've done a better job than you." So everything was good. But then the questions and answers started, right? The first question came. So instead of being embarrassed, you know what the driver said? Oh, when the question was asked, he responded, he said, "What a simple question. Even my driver sitting in the audience can answer that." He pointed towards Albert Einstein. So what I'm trying to tell you, how humor is used as an opportunity to break that difference. Winston Churchill, right? Right. Winston Churchill. He was the Prime Minister of UK at the time of World War II, right? And so he and this guy was a playwright on the side. Bernard Shaw was a very famous playwright. And so once what happened generally in the British, in the London musicals, there's a perfectly 20-minute gap between one show ending and the next show starting. But that was a long used. So the doors used to be opened for the people who were watching the earlier show of a play or a musical to come out, and the next set of people to get it, right? So this theatre had this was a rather narrow door. There were multiple doors, not the only door, but this particular door was a narrow one. And Winston Churchill, if you remember some of his statues, and he was a bulky man, kind of a thing. So Winston Churchill was getting into the theatre, and Bernard Shaw was coming out of the theatre, right? And Bernard Shaw was a very, very famous playwright, but he was like a stiff upper nose, very, very snooty person, right? Looking at, and they both knew each other, and he was Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister, and he was a playwright. So, and he was known to be snooty. So, Bernard Shaw was coming out of the theatre, and Churchill had to step in, and one person had to stop, because the door was not wide enough for both one person to come out and one person to get in. Looking at Bernard Shaw, looking at Churchill, he kept on moving, did not stop, and said, "I don't give way to fools." And rather than being embarrassed, the Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, used it as an opportunity. He immediately stopped. He said, "But I do," which means I give way to fools. So how people have used, laughter as a very, very potent tool to create the difference. You could also use sense of humor in enhancing the customer experience in multiple ways. If you get an opportunity, we'll spend more time as to how this could be done. It's huge opportunity. Most of the time, the problem that we have in our lives is we are not able to differentiate between things which are important and makes the shit, right? Most of what, and many of packing really want the difference. What's your boys are did in the bomb or the detergent, right? But once we do the exercise or the funerals exercise with you, we'll show you as to how there is huge difference in things and things which are important. And we day in and day out, we keep on spending our time on things which are urgent at the time of things which are far, far gone in our life. And as a result of which, urgent things put us, the daily urgencies in life, the domestic or office urgencies put us, and there is never ever a time or opportunity to do things which are far more important in your life. And that's the reason most of us do not become the person that we would like to be remembered as after we are gone. You must know about the type of problems and the type of people. This is not just the three kinds of problems. One is that the problems that we have in our life, our personal life, our office life, whatever it is. So one is the problem of a roadblock. We're going on a road, and suddenly there's a big roadblock comes. Right? It's not a difficult problem. You see the roadblock, either you have to move or you'll find some other way and go there. So this problem of roadblock is not a major problem. Right? The second problem is the problem of vanishing road. You are going on a road, and suddenly the road itself disappears. There's no road after that. Right? This will give you an example. Most of our graduates, right? No offense meant, humanity is very, very important, but especially in humanity, humanity is trained in B and C class universities, which the country is full of. Many of us do undergrad programs, and after that, the road itself disappears. You don't know what to do after that, right? Because the degree will not fetch us a job, right? So that's a part of the problem of disappearing road itself. So not very difficult again, because you'll do something, you recalibrate yourself, you acquire some skills, but you go for a master's degree or a program in a discipline that can fetch you a job, something you'll do. The road itself disappears. But the third problem is the most dangerous part, which is called the problem of no traveling. I have a comfortable life, I have a government job, I have a pension. If I joined before 2004, I have a pension which will keep increasing every year with the inflation and the DA increases, right? Where is the problem? I've made good money. I have recently good family. Children are doing well. I made a house of maybe a couple of them. Everything is hunky-dory in my life. Where is the problem? Believe me, my dear friends, this problem of no problem is the most dangerous problem. It can kill an otherwise very successful person point of view. Yeah. By killing that won't mean the person will die, but you can be alive and you'll be almost like a dead man if you encounter the problem of no problem. I'll shortly explain as to throw away as an end to a small story I try to end that. There are other things I want to know. What kind of people that you have in this when you interact with colleagues, interact with everybody. There are four kinds of people. One is what the train driver kind of people, right? Train driver. Are train drivers created? Nothing, right? They know what speed to move on, where to stop, where to go, everything is very, very monitored and structured. There is no scope for creativity or enthusiasm in their job. It's a very, very run-of-the-mill job, right? Perhaps there could be some, if there's a train accident or something like that, or a major problem, then there could be some scope to contribute, to leverage their creativity and come up with some creative solutions, right? Over it in that pond, you see a fisherman will sit right and look, you'll walk to some other stream, wherever there's an opportunity. And what skill a fisherman has? Very, very basic skill. If you and I had taught how to fish, in 2 days' time, you'll become as expert as the fisherman. And today, when you leverage technology, the skill is even less, kind of a thing, which are very, very advanced nets and those kind of things that you get, right? You can figure it out. And after the stream or the river dries up, or there's a flood in the stream, it'll go to some sea nearby and find wherever. So fisherman has a very basic skill, but is always keeps moving in search of opportunities. Right? So now I will end with a very, very small story. It's also a person called Voyager. Voyager was working in a church in the city, on the outskirts of the city of London. And his job was, have you seen the old churches, the colonial and those kind of structures where you have a huge bell at the top, and there's a rope hanging, and at the appointed time, somebody will ring the bell, right? Churches, many of you would have seen, especially the older churches, right? They ring the bell at appointed hours or every half an hour, whatever the time is, right? So Varsha was 19 years old when he had joined this church on the outskirts of the city of Nashik. And his job was to ring the bell at appointed times, right? And suddenly he had spent some 22 years in the church, and he was 41-year-old now. Joined at 90, he's 41 now, spent 22 years. And suddenly the church authority is not just of the local church, but all churches in England. They came up with the rule that every employee working in the church must be literate, right? Must know how to read or write, right? Basic literacy is a must, right? Now, in that particular church, there were 6 people who were illiterate. So the father called everybody for counseling and said that, my dear children, I don't want you to lose the job at all. And the 6-month margin the church authority that given for illiterate person to become literate. And in 2-3 months, you can get basic literacy. Yeah. And we will organize a tutor for you free of cost. After office hours, you can stay here for 1 more or 90 more minutes. And in 2-3 months' time, you will become literate, and the rule will not apply to you. You can save your job. So 5 people joined that class, but Virgil did not join that class, right? Virgil did not join the class. And after 2 months, when everybody all started to become literate, from illiteracy to literacy, the father again called Virgil and said, my dear child, my dear son, you have 3 children, 3 or 4, I forget, children at home to support, Why do you want to lose your job? You are not educated, you will not be able to do anything else, If you have a problem in staying beyond 6 p.m. in the evening, I'll organize a special tutor for you, who will be a slow-paced tutor, and during the church hours itself, that you will save your jobs. But Virgil had a mindset, he said, for the job that I do, literacy is not important at all, right? And he went on and on and on. And, another 3.5, 4 months passed, and the Virgil did not join the literacy class. And finally, after 6 months, Virgil had to be removed from the church. Got sad, right? And on that day, it was very, very, unlike most government offices that if you get your PFs and that, and those things don't get settled for months together. I hope they've changed now. So he was given the check of the gratuity and PF provident fund that he said approved to him, and he was very, very in a very tense, very bad mood, foul mood, and he was going on that the street that connected the church to the city of London. And Virgil was not just illiterate; he was a teetotaler also. He never smoked cigarettes, never drank alcohol or things like that. But that day, he felt like smoking. He was in such an awful mood. And he started looking for a cigarette shop on that street that connected the church to the city of London. And it was utter surprise, he did not find a single cigarette shop on that street which connected the church of the city of London. And Virgil, after a while, he thought that I'm sure there are many people who go on the street and want to have a smoke, but they don't get a cigarette shop, right? They must be very disappointed. So he used almost 40-50% of the money that he had got as a gratuity and provident fund and opened a cigarette shop in that street, right? And there were all kinds of problems in that cigarette shop. There was a flood in the River Thames, and the entire stock was flooded in water. Cigarette becomes moist, it's not water, right? That which home. Once a major theft happens over there, the entire, I think 70% of the stock got stolen. All kinds of problems came in that shop, but he came out of it and again restarted work and so on and so forth. After 1 year happened, he found that yes, just by investing 40 or 50% of my PF and gratuity money, this shop had problems, but we survived and it to feed our family also. Not that we gave on the road. But then second year, what he said, he again started walking on the streets of London to find another street which did not have a cigarette shop. And from whatever small surplus, despite the problems that shop could generate, he used that money and 10% more money out of his pay to open a second cigarette shop, right? And then it went on and on and on and on. And in the second, third year, fourth year. And the first cigarette shop, which had all the problems, he said, no, if I can sit in the cigarette shop and run the cigarette shop, I will sit on the second one. Third year, his son who was 19-year-old, he said that, why don't you work on the cigarette shop? I'll find more and more and more. And later, for every year, he would open 3 or 4, or later 10 or 15 new cigarette shops. So 7 years had elapsed by now. And by now, Orchard had become the leading tobacco orchard in the city of Prague. So the branch managers of a leading bank, I have to name, what I've literally named, the share they made. They heard that this is the number one tobacco merchant in the city of London. And people knew that they don't have a bank, so they do only cash business completely. So he phoned Roger and said, so, I'd like to come and I would like to do a brand account. He said that I've never thought about it, but if you insist, also 4 p.m. next Thursday be a good time. He told the branch manager of the bank on phone. And since Roger was a big man, the branch manager himself went and said, he said, sir, how much money you want to, you can open a bank account, your name, your details. The branch manager started filling the form himself, right? And after that, he said, sir, how much amount should I put? He said, I have 600,000 pounds, which is big money then. Even today it's a big money, but those days it was a very, very big money, lying in the cash form at home in various piles of currency notes. Out of that, easily 400,000 4 lakh pound, 4,000 pound, you can imagine. He said, I'll give it to the branch manager. Was surprised that while opening, somebody is giving me as a bigger amount, and he filled up the amount and then turned the paper upside down and gave the pen to Roger and said, sir, why didn't you sign it? Just said, how can I sign? I don't even know how to read or write. The branch manager he said, you do not know how to read and write, and yet you have done so well in your life. I wonder, had you known how to read and write, how well you would have done in your life. That's where they said, I wonder if, had you known how to read and write, how well you would have done in your life. Or they said, yes, gentlemen, if I had known how to read and write, I would still happy with me. So I think, even if you forget what I talk, remember the story, but while then you can say that he had a mental block when he decided not to join the MatserCLaaS, but from that time onwards, was he like a train driver or a doctor or fisherman? He was like a fisherman. He ran to find every street in the city of London did not have a cigarette shop. He went on, and despite after he left the job, she knew the importance between the difference between important things and urgent things, right? Urgent things was the first shop had all kinds of problems. There were urgent problems to be looked into, but doesn't my wife can look into it. I am on there on a more important mission to find more streets which do not have a cigarette shop, right? And when everything was hunky-dory after 1 or 2 shops, it was actually no problem of a person, right? I'm back, I'm earning more than what I was earning ringing the bell in the church. So where's the problem? So even completely illiterate people, very, very basic or no skill at all, if you have your horizons of the mind open, then nothing can stop you from getting what you want to get it. So I think unless all the story and vision about customer centricity, customer delight, satisfaction, all this would remain a paper dream unless we transform ourselves, unless each one of us becomes a different person, unless we feel that how would my customers remember me? Did their eyes lit up while interacting with me? Unless you feel that, unless you like to be remembered as a person that you after you have gone, unless we become closer to this person, through business prophecy, engineering and things like that, it will go this part, but not beyond. That is what I wanted to, in my talk, the kind of John you write, it's just hitting me. You are not just a government senator or some government officer or a government employee. You are presenting the country on almost on a 24/7 basis. The responsibility to break the stereotype notions that people had every year as a country, especially the government servants. You have to break that. That's very, very important. You have to be more task focused, more research centric, That's very, very, very important. Yeah, and then we talk to our very often they don't even listen to what we Indians are very, very poor listeners. We always interact. Can we listen to our customers? Can we find out where issue is? Can we still try to step into their shoes? And can we understand their pain areas? I think that's very, very important. Without that, anything else would be very, very different. We have to always, the challenge is how do we long last the romance between, first is create the romance between us and our customers, and how do we make it long last? Because even to keep a marriage going, you have to refresh the elements which create that romance, right? That's very important. When basic definition of romance, you can't end there at all. It has to be clean, genuine, reinvented every now and then, or work for happiness around us. I think the same thing happens. Now, the problem is most of us have become, especially in public sectors, in government sectors, we become over-managed but under-checked. There is an overdose of management, overdose of regulation, but paucity of leadership. I think this is very, very important for you. And I will, not that everything always in our life when we glory. I will end with a small poem which has always, not that we all but 38 years in my career in government, in private sector, in the NGOs, in think tanks, not that everything has always been hunky-dory. Wherever they are, the small poem at my home as well as at my desk in my office, I just go through it whenever I'm being the withdrawal. It helps me. Perhaps it will help you as well. And I just quote, it says, where kills go down, and they sometimes will. When the road you are trudging seems all uphill, where the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, then care is pressing you down or pit. Rest if you must, but build you quick. Life is strange with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure turns out when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You might succeed with just either blow. My dear friend, success is nothing but failure turned inside out. The silver taint of the clouds of doubt. And you can never tell how close you are. It may be near where it seems afar. So stick to the fight when you are hardest hit. It is when things get worse that you must not wait. Don't trust the clouds, trust the sunshine. Trust the sun, don't trust the shadows. Have faith in your faith that doubt your doubts. I will end with that. But if you really want to excel and create a customer centricity, I think these changes in each one of us are very, very essential to be brought in. Otherwise, the domain of people do. We won't be able to delight the customers that we are studying. And remember what we said about the Gandhi as I started. They are the single most important thing happening to you. They are not dependent on you. You are dependent on them. They pay our salaries, right? They keep us in business. If you remember what Gandhi told about the customer, while being engaged with our customers on a day in and day out. It is very good people. Customer is not necessarily the person who is passing through a line for. Any stakeholder you interact with is a customer, right? Thank you. Thank you so much.